please welcome the director of Eddie the Eagle, Dexter Fletcher, everybody. Give it up.
Thank you.
And please welcome Eddie the Eagle himself. Please welcome Taron Egerton.
Hello. Did you like it? Thank you.
Does this crowd sound like they love this movie?
They
Yes,
certainly-
they did.
They certainly
Absolutely.
do. Certainly do.
Very
certainly
good. Very good. You know, by the way, my name is Scott Mantz, and I'm the film critic for Access Hollywood. I saw this movie a couple weeks ago, and it was a very, very special screening, and I'm very honored to be here moderating tonight's Q&A. But my first question, Dexter, is, here's a film that is based on something that happened in 1988. True story, absolute crowd pleaser, and from racking my brain, why hasn't somebody made a movie like this yet?
I don't know. Our good fortune that they haven't. Our good luck. No, I think there are sports movies out there. This is a sports movie, a story of, someone attempting to attain glory. And the script has been floating around for 15 years before we got hold of it. So it hasn't been around. It's just taken its time to work its way through the machine and, find the right team and the right group of people to really kind of tackle it in the way that we did and hopefully give it the heart that we felt that it deserved.
The collaboration you have with Matthew Vaughn, who produced the film, he had that movie sitting around for 15 years.
He did.
He had put it aside. What was it that inspired him to pick it up again and say, hey, I'm going to have Dexter direct this movie?
Because he knows I'm great. No, do you know the story about this, about how he sat and watched Cool Runnings with his kids?
Oh, there you go.
I don't know this story, no.
Well, let me tell you. He sat and he watched Cool Runnings with his kids. And Cool Runnings is another great movie set during the same Olympics when there was the Jamaican bobsleigh team who came last, not unlike Eddie. And there's a very good film with a lovely actor called John Candy in it, who's sadly no longer around. Anyway, it's a very good film and it's a great story about, endeavour and sporting achievement. And I think, he felt the time was right to maybe sort of revisit it, but this time telling one man's story or a story about a friendship. And so, here we are.
What did you do to prepare, in terms of, the weight gain or the weight?
You mean you say a weight gain, which is a lovely thing to say, thank you. All it was that I didn't do any weight loss for the movie. Well, I looked at lots of footage of Eddie, and Dexter said to me very early on that he wanted me to look like an unlikely athlete, an unlikely hero. So I said, don't spend any time in the gym. And I immediately did a fist bump, punch the air, and was like, great.
I think that what you get when you watch the film is that how much heart and determination that Taron brings to portraying Eddie. And that's the journey that we go on. And I think we admire that determination and that relentlessness, and he does it with such warmth and affection, and we were always very clear that we wanted to treat Eddie with warmth and affection because we really admire him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was something that Dexter and I connected on very, very, very early on. I think there was a great risk with this property and this script that you could take the easy route and deride Eddie and mock him and make him a figure of fun, and we don't shy away from the fact that he was an unlikely hero, and there are a few moments where he looks a bit silly, but I feel, and I hope the audience feels, that the heart of it is that he was someone who was incredibly determined, incredibly passionate, and that's what we set about to try and do.
Did he see the movie?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic, thank you.
Good clap. It was lovely.
Did Eddie Edward see the movie?
Yes, he did. I'm going to take this one.
Yeah, go on.
So,
This is an important review.
So so basically, Matthew Vaughn and Dexter called me and said, we've got a screening. It's done. You can come and watch it. And I said, great. And I travelled down from Wales, which is where I live, which is about 5 hours away from London, and arrived at the studio and was ushered in the theatre, and I was ushered in, and they said, you're sitting here, and I sit down, and who sat next to me the first time I watched the movie?
Great.
It's Eddie the Eagle. And I'm shaking so nervous with what he'll think of this movie. I mean, I had every faith that Dexter would make it brilliant, but it was still nerve-wracking, and we sat and watched the movie, and I couldn't relax the whole way through. And then at the end, I turned to him, and he was crying, and it wasn't because he hated it. It's because he loved it, which is amazing. And that's kind of one of the biggest sources of pride, is that he really responded to it in the way that we hoped he would, which was great.
But you actually worked with him while you were making the film.
Yeah, so
well.
I spent a bit of time with him before we started to try and kind of imbibe and absorb a little bit of who he is. But he's a very different guy now. He looks completely different. You know, he looks nowhere near as characterful as how he did back in the late 80s. But it was lovely to talk to him. And actually, one of the most useful things was hearing him talk about ski jumping, because his passion for it is totally infectious, and that was a great gift for...
It's because it's all he talks about.
It's because it's all he talks about.
That's all he talks about.
He loves it. He really loves it, and that was kind of the key to the whole thing, really, the passion for it.
Now, I want to ask you, like, what's it like going from such a physical role like Kingsman? By the way, how awesome is Kingsman? I mean,
cool.
what's it like going from like a really physical, kick-ass role like that to something that's a little more, human to some extent?
I mean, it's an absolute dream, because you don't have to spend 2 hours in the gym and eat chicken and spinach the whole time. I don't know. I mean, for me, Matthew first called me about this when the whole thing was beginning to build momentum, and said, I know you really want to do something different. I think this might be the thing, and it really was. It really was. And I think as an actor, the dream is that you get to play different parts and kind of do different sorts of things. That the variety is the real joy of it. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and then Matthew called me and started talking about it, and he said, I think we should look at Taron. I was like, he's just too good looking. He's just he's a movie star. This guy's got to be,
Stop it.
It's
Well, Taron, let's talk about the skiing. How much were you a good skier before you started making the movie, or did you really have to learn how to jump?
I had to learn. I'd never skied before in my life. So when we first flew out to Germany, I came out a couple of weeks early and tried to learn to ski and fell over an awful lot. But it was great. It's one of the lovely things about being an actor. You get to learn other skills.
Did Hugh ski too as well, or was
Hugh's a sickeningly good skier. How irritating is it how good Hugh Jackman is at everything? Absolutely everything. He's very good, right? He's a proficient skier. Yeah.
he's expert, I would say.
Yeah.
I got 2 words, and I just want you to just give me your thoughts on Christopher Walken. Go.
Do the impression.
Here we go. I wasn't going to ask, but go ahead. Do it.
I can't do it because it's not fair on the man who's not here to defend himself. But he's an alligator. He's a man. We love him.
Very good. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
I remember when this happened in '88, it was all over the news. I mean, it was what most people remember from the '88 Olympics. What is it about Eddie that just makes him his story endure so much that it was a big deal then, and you're reminded of that watching this movie? Like, what is it about this Eddie Edwards?
I think we live in a culture where we put so much emphasis on being the best, being the utmost you can be, which of course is a great idea, but we put people on a pedestal and we live in celebrity culture. And when someone comes along who isn't the best but has such determination and passion, I think people connect with that.
So I want to open up to the audience. I'm sure someone has you all have questions, so please raise your hand. Yes.
So I'm wondering, in acting or in directing, do you ever utilize ugly but effective methods, and what would those be?
I suppose you do. There's a great deal of planning and preparation that has to go into making any film. You've got 8 weeks. You've got to shoot the script. You've got to have it, and you can't guarantee that even when you do shoot it, it is all going to come together when you edit it. But certainly when you're there in the moment on the set, directing or finding the moments, you've got to be open to just going for the ugly but effective method, which is, I think, a little bit of We Came Out is something that happened on the day. There's
Got this awful feeling that is going to echo throughout my life.
Yeah, it's going to follow you everywhere. Yeah, it was the great thing though that Taron very much wanted to impress Hugh, and Hugh was impressed, and that's kind of what happened on the set. You know, it's true. You know,
No, it's totally true. Yeah, of course it is.
But that's what made it so much fun.
Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. So, okay, so you love the movie, so make sure you spread the word. And what do people do to spread the word these days? They go on the internet, they go on social media.
Fly like Eddie, is that what it is?
There
Fly
you
like
go.
Eddie, there you go.
Fly
yeah.
like Eddie. Hashtag fly like Eddie. So go on Twitter, go on Facebook, go on Instagram. I don't know if you're still using MySpace or Friendster, but make sure you spread the word about Eddie the Eagle. Opens at the end of February. Thank you so much, ladies
Thank
and
you.
gentlemen.
Thank you
Thank
very
you, everybody,
much.
for staying.
And
Thank you.
Dexter.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Thank you.
Thanks.